Imagine your life is this box of chocolates. It's new, it's fresh, full of joy. You can't wait to rip it open. You're brimming with excitement as you slowly peel off that sticker, choosing which one you're going to enjoy first. Then all of a sudden, your mum walks into the room. "Oh, can I have one?" But hearing that, your dad walks in. Then maybe your big brother, your little sister, your friend. Somehow that random guy on the street has also managed to take a piece from you. And before you know it, they're all gone. The box is empty. Do you feel that? That sinking feeling of emptiness? You got yourself so excited for all of the joy just to be left with nothing. Well, you're not the only one, and I'm not speaking about chocolates anymore. Human beings have a tendency to help other people. We love to care for other people. We subconsciously hold doors open for people. We carry the elderly's shopping bags. We do jobs for our family without ever expecting anything more than a thank you. We sit and we listen to other people's problems. We offer our advice, our services, because we care about these people. These acts are like chocolates. A smoker goes on a night out with a simple box of 20 cigarettes. The entire night they're going around offering them out generously to people who need that relief from stress, that shoulder to cry on. But then come the end of the night, after they've absorbed all of this stress from other people, they don't have any left and there's no one there to help them. This is a negative cycle, a cycle of dependency where people are going around scrounging for help that they wouldn't have even needed in the first place if they just kept a little bit of joy back for themselves. A cycle that has a much better alternative. We are in what I like to call a happiness pandemic. When you think about it, we are barely functioning as a society. Switch on the news. All that you see are things that are going to make you sad and depressed. People are dying. Kids are starving. People are homeless, losing their jobs. And you might be thinking, well, what on earth can I do to help all of these people? Well, in reality, it's nothing. You are too small, you're too insignificant to have any meaningful impact on that global level. You can barely handle your own happiness with the stresses of your job, your family problems, your relationship, or maybe lack of thereof, and that's okay, but be honest with me, don't you dream of it? More importantly here, be honest with yourself. You want to be known as that savior. This is why you help people in the first place. You want to have that positive impact on the world. Being remembered as a good guy at your funeral, the selfless one, the one who always put others before themselves, leaving a legacy. But that's hard, and quite frankly, you know you're not doing enough. Well, doing enough is way easier than you think, to the point where when you realize how, you'll wonder why you ever thought otherwise, why you ever thought you weren't enough. Really, it boils down to one point, which I'm going to split into 3 sections for you right now. A little bit of a change in perspective, a subtle change in the way you act, and it starts with a little bit of a deep dive into something called altruism. What this word means is the selfless concern for the well-being of others, and as I've already covered, you possess this, just like every other human being on the planet. We are all fundamentally altruists. But what I've also covered is that if you do this too much, you'll end up leaving no space for yourself, leading to that negative cycle. Well, both of these are true, so let's find the middle point. Imagine your mum comes in for some chocolates, and of course you oblige, maybe give one to your dad as well. But when your sister comes in, you simply just say no. Now don't get me wrong, this one may seem quite hard and quite harsh at first. You might say you can't just say no to someone who is truly in need of your help. But I'm not saying that you shouldn't. All I'm saying is, what if it's not your sister's first time asking for a chocolate and you give her one every single time, but then when she gets chocolates and you want a chocolate, she never returns the favour. This step is simply about conservation. You should be giving out your chocolates to other people because fundamentally it makes you happy. You are an altruist. But that being said, if you give out all your chocolates and don't leave any for yourself, you're going to end up in this negative cycle. Leave some love and care for yourself. You can't help others until you help yourself. Quite famously quoted by Maya Angelou, and she's not wrong. You are nowhere near as helpful at 50% as you are at 100%. You need to learn to say no sometimes. And if someone is constantly taking from your life, sapping that mental energy without ever providing anything in return, then please stop wasting your time. Now we need to shift into gear. When was the last time you were so full with happiness that you were literally overflowing? And I'm talking full to the brim, to the point where you couldn't stand still. You were that happy, when that smile would not leave your face if you wanted it to. Think back to that time and remember how you acted that day. It's almost like you had way too much happiness for your body to hold, kind of like the water in this cup. So instead of letting it go to waste and have absolutely no purpose whatsoever, we like to share it with other people. You wanted to share it with other people. You even did it subconsciously. You found it easy to be able to share that happiness with everybody around you. So why do we find it so hard to share that happiness when we're not feeling like that? Why can we not do it all of the time willingly? Well, hold that thought for literally 2 minutes, because to find out the answer to that question, we need to understand the nature of happiness. Have you ever heard of the phrase infectious smile, or even infectious laugh? What this is referring to is how positivity literally radiates off of us. What happens is positivity transmits through the air. Seeing someone smile, hearing someone laugh, smelling someone's particular aftershave maybe, tasting a nice cake, even feeling a breeze on our skin, all radiates happiness from other things into us. A fantastic example of this happened to me just yesterday. I was in a coffee shop getting a coffee with my girlfriend, as you do, when in strolled this middle-aged white man, casual as you like, with a dog. Not just any dog though, a bloodhound called Chomper, and he was loud and proud. Every time someone would go and collect their coffee from the front, Chomper would bark like a maniac at them, clearly wanting attention. And by God did he get it. A waitress came over and excitedly started a conversation with the man, who was so happy to let the waitress pet young Chomper, talk to him, call him a good dog in that funny voice that everyone always does. But you could just tell everyone in that building was absolutely loving it. There were smiles on literally everybody's faces. The place looked and felt alive. What hit me though, surprisingly, is leaving the shop, going back to the real world where everyone just looked so dull and so lifeless. I could feel my mood change on the spot, back to that feeling of emptiness. And that's when I figured this out. Positivity has a radius, and when someone enters that positivity radius, what happens is they get some good vibes, and they increase their positivity radius just a little bit. And this goes on and on and on, all the way down the chain, getting to a point where you could infect a whole room of people just by being that one person in the middle filled with joy. The impact you could have is absolutely massive. And if you replace this guy with a dog, that's exactly what happens to that coffee shop. But you're not a dog, obviously, so how do you do that? Especially when you're having a bad day, or maybe just not the perfect day. You aren't always filled up with so much happiness that it's easy for you to pass it off to everyone around you. So really, it's a good job that you don't actually have to be happy to have this effect. Let's say that a girl approaches you in the street, or a guy, I don't discriminate. They approach you in the middle of the day, in the middle of a busy street, and they say to you that your hair looks really, really nice today. Or maybe that they wish they had your fashion sense. Or maybe that you're wearing your smile really well today. And then they leave and you never see them again. I'm willing to bet, especially if you're a guy, that this would make your day, hell, even month, years in some people's cases. That would give you great vibes, which would then increase your happiness radius. Maybe you pass it off to someone else with a simple smile because you're just that happy. Maybe you have a pleasant conversation with someone. Maybe you even pass on a compliment yourself. That would go all the way down the chain. Now, what if I told you that that original guy or girl, deep down that day, was really, really sad. They'd actually just been broken up with. Their dog had died that same morning, and just last week their mum was admitted to hospital. They were having a really, really bad day. That chocolate that they gave you may have been the only chocolate that they handed out that day, and it made them feel a little bit better about their situation. But that little bit better they feel is nothing in comparison to how good these hundreds of other people felt because of her one action. Now imagine if everybody did this. It would spread like wildfire, like an antivirus to this happiness pandemic that I've spoken about. It would make every corner of the globe feel like that one coffee shop did midday on a Wednesday. Now you might say that you can't rely on everybody else to do this with you, and that's absolutely true, but what you can do is start with yourself. This happiness breeds into other people, so you doing it maybe will inspire someone else to do the same, and someone else to do the same, and someone else to do the same. It is possible to reach this, it just takes time and a hell of a lot of effort from a select few people. And I'm willing to bet that your day today was nowhere near as bad as that example. So what's your excuse? This is extremely common in guys because if we go and compliment a girl, the likelihood is they're going to see it as us trying to hit on them, as us being creepy. But it's also very common in girls because if they go and compliment a guy, they're going to see it as an advance and maybe put themselves in danger if you do that to the wrong person. So very valid, actually. There's two solutions to this. The easiest one being just to compliment within your own gender. Quick, easy, efficient. But then again, you might still find that hard. So the other solution is to realize that this social anxiety, this fear, is all in your head. Psychologists say it takes on average about 2 to 3 seconds for someone to forget even meeting you, or just any ordinary encounter, like seeing someone on the street. It takes someone a lot longer to forget something that has emotional significance to them. So, for example, you go up to someone on the street and tell them they have really nice hair, and they go, "That guy's a weirdo." They will forget that encounter within 2 to 3 seconds, walk off and enjoy their life completely hassle-free. However, you're going to sit there worrying about that until you're about 65. When in reality, it doesn't need to be that way. They've moved on. They don't remember your face, let alone the sound of your voice. They won't recognize you in the streets. Just move on. It's time to forget. On the other hand, if you go up to someone, compliment their hair, and they think, "Oh my God, wow, I put so much effort into my hair today. That made me feel amazing." They're not going to forget that for maybe months, even years of their life. That feeling of embarrassment that you feel after you get an awkward reaction from someone is completely self-inflicted. It only exists in your perception of events because their perception of events doesn't exist anymore. This is a win-win situation for literally everyone involved. Either they get happy and you get happy and more confidence, or they don't get anything and you get more confidence. When you understand this simple fact, starting a conversation with literally anyone becomes such a simple task. And don't get me wrong, you're gonna have to put some practice in here, but do it 5 times. And just see how easy it then becomes. Remember that if we all do this, you're not only going to be 10 times happier, and so is everyone else, you're going to be leaving an impact on the world. Something that's going to be felt in a ripple effect for the rest of time. But also on those days that you're not feeling it, when it's hard to drag yourself out of bed, when something really unfortunate's happened to you, you're way more likely to run into someone who's going to flip it all around on its head. So today's homework is to compliment one person. You can take the easy way out if you want, compliment a friend or family member, but if you really want to prove to yourself that this is the time you're making a change, go out there and compliment one random person on the street, just one. Then remember their response and write it in the document linked down below. This is one way you can actually make a change, leave a mark. And after you've done that, since you're interested in this happiness stuff, you can watch this video I made that runs through step by step how to recapture that childlike joy that you remember from way back then. So I hope you learned something today. Let's keep it going.